into the orbita or additus orbita. Orbita has four walls: superior wall, inferior, lateral, and middle. Superior wall, help me. What is this bone? Which bone makes superior wall of the orbita? Postfrontal. That is pars orbitalis of frontal bone, and what else?
The
Ala minor of sphenoid bone. Good. Now, lateral wall. First of all, it is facies orbitalis of zygomatic bone. The same it is zygomatic process of frontal bone. And look here. What is it?
Again.
Lacrimal.
No. What is this orange color? What is this?
That is fine.
That is facies orbitalis of
Ala major.
ala major of sphenoid bone, greater veins of sphenoid bone. That it was lateral wall. Now inferior wall, small part of inferior wall, that is zygomatic bone. This green color, that is facies orbitalis of maxilla. It is a small process posteriorly, processus orbitalis, who remember, of which bone?
Processus
Orbitalis of palatine bone. Very good. Processus orbitalis of palatine bone. The same participate in inferior wall of orbita. And last wall is middle wall. Anteriorly it is processus. What is this process? Processus frontalis of maxilla. This bone is small bone, lacrimal bone. Next, it is lamina orbitalis of
the palatine bone. Lamina
orbitalis of
Ethmoid.
bone, and posteriorly it is body of sphenoid bone, corpus ossis sphenoidalis. That is walls of the orbita. And now necessary to know which openings, canals, fissura opens into the orbita. First of all, that is canalis opticus, then fissura orbitalis superior, next fissura orbitalis inferior. It is sulcus and canalis and foramen infraorbitale. New openings for you, that is foramen ethmoidale, anterior and posterior, both of them they are absent, but you should remember that between ethmoid bone and frontal bone we have two foramen ethmoidale, anterior and posterior, and from here start canalis, naso, lacrimalis, and opens into the nasal cavity. Canalis, nasal, lacrimalis. They are openings of the orbita. Now, nasal cavity. Nasal cavity has superior wall, inferior wall, lateral wall, middle wall, that is septum of nasal cavity, and posterior wall. Posterior wall superiorly, that is body of sphenoid bone, and all another posterior wall, that is opening. You already know that is choana. Choana posteriorly, and superiorly body of sphenoid bone. Inferior wall, that is hard palate or palatum osseum, bony palate. That is inferior wall of nasal cavity. Is it clear? Lamina horizontalis of palatine bone and processus palatinus of maxilla, that is inferior wall of nasal cavity. Then superior wall, it is os nasale, pars nasalis of frontal bone, lamina cribrosa of ethmoid bone, and body of sphenoid bone. Middle wall or septum nasi. Posteriorly it is vomer, crista sphenoidalis, crista nasalis of lamina horizontalis, and crista nasalis of palatine process of maxilla, and anteriorly lamina perpendicularis of ethmoid bone, and from frontal bone crista and spina nasalis of frontal bone. And last wall, that is lateral wall. First of all, that is facies nasalis of maxilla, then concha nasalis inferior, then labyrinthus ethmoidalis with superior and medial concha, then lamina perpendicularis of palatine bone, and lamina medialis of pterygoid process of sphenoid bone. Pterygoid process of sphenoid bone, yes. That is lateral wall. And give me piece of paper, please. Small piece of paper. Or copy book, something. Okay, that is nasal cavity. That is nasal cavity. It is septum. And it is crista galli, it is lamina cribrosa, and that is labyrinth of ethmoid bone. Cleatis, labyrinth has superior concha, middle concha, and inferior concha attached to maxilla. Cleatis, and spaces between these three concha, they are meatus nasis superior. It is space between superior and middle concha. Then meatus nasi medius, between middle and inferior concha, and meatus nasi inferior, that is space between inferior concha and floor of the nasal cavity. And you need to know what opens into these three nasal meatus. For example, superior nasal meatus, it is opens sinus sphenoidalis, then today you prepare foramen, sphenopalatine, and posterior cells of ethmoid bone, They opens into superior nasal meatus. Into middle nasal meatus opens largest sinuses. They are sinus maxillaris, then sinus frontalis, sphenoid sinus into superior, sinus frontalis, and anterior and medial cells of ethmoid bone.
So when you say cells,
Cellular ethmoidalis. Inside of ethmoid bones, we have cells. Anterior cells, cellular ethmoidalis anterior, middle cells, cellular ethmoidalis media, and cellular ethmoidalis posterior. Posterior cells, cellular ethmoidalis posterior into superior nasal meatus, all another into middle nasal meatus. And inferior meatus has only one canal, canalis nasolacrimalis, canalis nasolacrimalis. Not necessary to draw next time, not necessary to draw, but it is necessary to know, and you will write, I think, written test. I give you to write walls of the nasal cavity, and you will write that superior wall of nasal cavity consists of pars nasalis of frontal bone, lamina cribrosa of ethmoid bone, body or corpus ossis sphenoidalis, cletis. Then medial wall of nasal cavity consists of, that is septum, vomer, lamina perpendicularis of ethmoid bone, crista sphenoidalis, crista and spina nasalis of frontal, and so on. And then you also will write three nasal meatus and what opens into each of these nasal meatus. And you will write that superior nasal meatus, it is into this nasal meatus opens sinus sphenoidalis, cellular ethmoidalis posterior, and foramen sphenopalatine. Okay, it is the same about orbita, walls of the orbita and all canals, foramen, fissura, everything what opens into the orbita. Clear?
so that is only for the orbital and the nasal.
Yes, only two structures, orbita and nasal cavity. That is all. And I think that I give you written test next time, and you will write walls of the orbita, nasal cavity, and all openings. Your questions? No? That is
So, do you have to study which bones?
On Wednesday. What?
Which bones have sinuses? We should know, right? Should we?
Sinuses? No. Only names of sinuses. For example, sinus phoenidalis opens into superior nasal meatus.
Okay.
Sinus frontalis opens into medial nasal meatus. Sinus maxillaris the same into medial nasal. Only names of sinuses and where they open. Well,
So in this foramen caroticus externus
Yes.
is this
this one external
And
and
that is
heat is internal. And between them, canalis
Canalis
caroticus.
caroticus, yes.
Heat is internal, that is external, and between them, canalis caroticus.
Great, great.
don't take that, you have to send that